Good evening. Welcome to the Comic Book Shop of Doom. I'm your host. This is the nightly news for the weekend edition, Saturday, July 11th and Sunday, July 12th, 2020. I'm putting this up early Saturday morning. So my next update will be Sunday night, and it'll be for Monday. So I went through the internet and I got everything that's new. I wrote it down. So we got a super report here, and then I could take Saturday night off because we have company coming. So this video is not for children. That's another thing I forgot to say. I don't need a $40,000 COPA, YouTube, or the government fine for swearing or making some obscene comment. So kids, get your parents' permission to watch this video if you're under 13. If anything, ask mom and dad to sit down and watch it with you, and they can explain whatever I say that you don't understand. Ask questions. My parents were always willing to answer stuff whenever I'd ask them. Even if it was really bad, they would be like, well, this is what it's really about, but you don't want to know that or whatever. So they would sugarcoat it, but they would tell you what it was. So here's all your comic book, pro wrestling, and movie news for Saturday and Sunday, July 11th and July 12th. Okay, Monster Hunter, the movie adaptation of the Capcom video game with Mia Jovovich, has been moved to April 23rd, 2021. So everything's pushed back because of the coronavirus, and then the date that they had, it was going to go against A Quiet Place 2. So they pulled out and they put it up the next year. Okay, The Moody's is going to be renewed for season 2 on the Fox network. Run was canceled by HBO after one season. Jurassic World 3, on their first day back, it was shut down to shoot because a bunch of crew members tested positive for COVID-19. So this stuff isn't going away anytime soon. Anybody that thinks everything's back to normal, we got a while yet on this. Okay, Apple Studios is going to make a movie based on a graphic novel called Snowblind in partnership with Boom, the comic company Boom, and it's going to star Jake Gyllenhaal. Okay, HasLabs, which is Hasbro's crowdfunding division, they've done a couple of projects, and their newest one, 26-inch Sentinel to hunt the X-Men. So it's going to cost $350 for this thing. I saw some pictures and I wasn't really impressed. So unless I see something up close, and that's a lot of money for a toy. That's why they're doing these. HasLabs, the crowdfunding is they're doing all this experimental stuff that they know people wouldn't pay for, like the $1,000 or what was it, $500 Jabba sail barge. They did a Cookie Monster one, a plush toy that never got funded. So the sail barge took a while to do it too. It just barely made it over the line. Okay, Stephen King has an anthology book out called If It Bleeds. There's 4 stories in here that have gotten optioned. So that means that Hollywood companies and people have put up money to potentially make these. They get a time frame on how long they can make it. If they don't make it, the rights revert back to him. Okay, the first story, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. Going to be directed by John Lee Hancock, produced by Blumhouse and Ryan Murphy for Netflix. So it'll be a directive TV movie. Then there's a story called Rat. Ben Stiller optioned that. There's another story called The Life of Chuck. Darren Aronofsky has optioned that. And the fourth one, Let It Bleed. It's rumored HBO is sniffing around for it because it ties into their show The Outsider. So those are 4, I don't know how many stories in there. I did see this on the stand, but I haven't read a Stephen King book in years. But it was at the bookstore, and I did see it. It was being pushed, like on the bestseller list and stuff. Okay, Cate Blanchett has signed a deal with FX Productions. So that means for the FX channel, she could produce movies and TV shows for them. So it's one of those first look deals where she brings projects to them, and they have the right to say, yes, we're going to make it, or no, we pass. And if they pass, she could go to other places, but if another place picks it up, they have to pay back FX for funding, the original project. So they give her a pool of money, an office, a staff, to go buy books and scripts and movies and plays and stuff like that, and then she has to develop the stuff. Okay, this is really dumb. Matt Reeves and Terrence Winter are going to produce the Batman series at HBO Max, and this is what's stupid about it. We don't even know if Batman's going to be in it. So it's going to be like a deal like Gotham, where they tease everything, but they won't actually come out and show Batman. So what's the point to this? I mean, this stuff is really getting old. I mean, Smallville, they dragged that on for, 10 years before Clark could fly? It was like, come on. This Batman, if you're going to do that, don't even make it. They won't pull the trigger and make a Batman show. They keep teasing it and teasing it and teasing it. They tease it in that Arrowverse. He's going to show up there. It's like, how many times can you do this to the fans before they say, fuck you? Okay, Universal's making a horror film called Little Monsters. It has nothing to do with the 1989 Fred Savage movie with Howie Mandel. Disney World is reopening this Saturday. So July 11th, Disney World's opening up. Wait till you see the coronavirus cases spike over there. Florida, Texas, California, and they were saying that, it doesn't like the heat. Okay, I believe that one. Okay, Marvel's working on a new Werewolf by Night comic. Marvel's winter event, so in other words, their big super crossover, King in Black. And guess what? This is old too. It's another Venom and the Symbiote spinoff. Now, they just announced that Null. So now there's a second one. So they're going to, push that into the ground. Empire Invasion of Wakanda has been canceled, so that must not have sold, when they solicited the sales for that thing, or they were behind in work. So that didn't do good. Okay, there's a censored Michael Turner Superman Batman page for auction at Heritage Auctions. It's Batman versus Artemis. Now, what I think is censored on this, it's either woman on man or man on woman violence, and they also draw her in provocative poses with her rear end. So I think that's why DC didn't have this published in Walmart. When they put out the new reprint comics, they censored it. Michael Turner has been dead a couple of years. I mean, he died a while back. I mean, I remember Wizard was still being published when he passed away. He had cancer. So this might be 10 years plus old. So his work has got to be hard to find. So it's probably going to go for a good buck on the collector's market. Okay, your wrestling news. WWE is going to use CGI, so computer-generated images, in the Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio eye match. So in other words, it's going to be another one of these cinematic matches. So they're going to spend money to have Hollywood dudes do it up like an eyeball's popping out of their head. Renee Young tested negative now for coronavirus, so she's over it. The Rock is charging $1 million for a sponsored post on his Instagram. So that's really good money. So if I was The Rock, I would do 2 or 3 of those a day for a year. And there's all the money he would need to retire. Okay, Bret Hart is doing this shoot thing off of his website. And he said in a recent one that he tried to get Owen Hart to quit WWF and go to Japan. And they wouldn't let Owen Hart quit. So he wanted to go to WCW, and they wouldn't let him out of his deal. He was the only one. They didn't care about Neidhart, and they didn't care about the British Bulldog. Because those guys were both had problems, and they were broken down. And Bret Hart's also saying that Owen Hart never got a break in WWF. He never got a significant push. And I do see that. But the problem with Owen Hart going to Japan, his ankles were shot. He did that before, I think, when he went to WWE. So the flips and all that, he couldn't do that stuff anymore. So would he have done well in Japan? I don't know. It's hard to say. Okay, Luke Gallows filmed Talk and Shop on Mania in his backyard. So they got this podcast and they filmed this and they got Carl Anderson, Enzo Amore, Maria and Mike Kanellis, and a bunch of other people. Uh, so they got something called a boner match. It's a spoof of the Boneyard match. So everybody was tested for COVID-19 and they sanitized everything. So Luke Gallows runs a couple of different federations down in Georgia, and he filmed this in his backyard. So they're going to put out a pay-per-view, a backyard pay-per-view, basically. Okay, Warrior Wrestling. They're going to supposedly run an outdoor show August 7th, 2020 in Chicago Heights, Illinois, in a football stadium. Now, that's a bad neighborhood. Chicago Heights is bad. So there's something up with this Fed where they got a lot of money, and I can't see them making a profit because they bring in too many people. So on this card, if this goes, because our state here in Illinois is still locked down with a lot of stuff. They're supposed to bring in Brian Pillman Jr., Brian Cage, Sam Adonis, who is Corey Graves' brother. He mostly wrestles in Mexico, and the Rascals from Impact Wrestling. Okay, this is really fucked up. A luchador named Anubis Black was murdered in Mexico, and the cops said it was a revenge hit because he killed a couple of months ago. So this luchador named Anubis Black was basically a hitman. He killed two people, and then they found him and they killed him as revenge. So there's a mob hit or something in Mexico. Drugs, who knows? Okay, Impact Wrestling filed for the Paycheck Protection Program loan. So the government-sponsored coronavirus loan, they took out a loan for these guys. They wanted between 150 grand and 360 grand to save 106 jobs. Okay, FTR, formerly known as the Revival, and FTR stands for Fuck the Rest. They got heat in AEW for being on Jim Cornette's podcast. Well, you know what? I would tell everybody to go get fucked, that this is promotional items. That you're pushing AEW and you're pushing their thing being on there. It's just publicity. Okay, AJ Styles called Paul Heyman a bold-faced liar over him basically not standing up and keeping saying up to Vince, hey, I need Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson to stay. So AJ Styles is mad because his clique was disbanded. Okay, this is how stupid Matt Riddle is. He needed the script on the table for his SmackDown debut because he can't remember the lines. Okay, here's a list. This is the final piece of news. A list of WWE stars that haven't been back since the company-wide COVID testing. Okay, Dana Brooke, Carmella, Naomi, the Street Profits, and Angelo Dawkins. His wife had a baby, so congratulations to him. So that may have been why he hasn't been back, because his wife was pregnant. The Velveteen Dream, who's rumored to be on the cut list because of that sexual thing where he was sending around pictures. He was sending around nude shots to underage people. Austin Theory, he's another one that's on the bubble, supposedly with the speaking out movement for harassing people. And he's also got gay porn on the internet. He's got some kind of stroking off video. Daniel Bryan, now his wife is pregnant, the Bella twin. So that might be why he might be staying out. Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Natalya, Nia Jax, Otis, Tucker, Mojo Rawley, Shorty G, who has like 5 kids, so that might be why he's out. He don't want to, put his family in jeopardy. Raquel Gonzalez, Sheamus, and Sonya Deville. Those are people since WWE started the coronavirus testing. They haven't been on TV. So a lot of people were thinking these are some of the people that got it. So we don't know. They're not saying anything. The only positives were Renee Young, Caleb Braxton, Jamie Noble, and Adam Pierce. Those were the four that came forward. And then after that, Vince McMahon put a gag order and anybody saying they were sick. Everybody have a good weekend, and I'll have a new update up late Sunday night for Monday. Have a good and safe holiday. Well, it's not a holiday, but have a good weekend, summer. Enjoy your summer. Take care.